Welcome to CityWise. I'm your host, Tiana Stevens. CityWise is produced by the City of Rochester to shine a spotlight on city living at its best. Every February, the city's Black Heritage Committee puts on a wonderful lineup of activities to celebrate Black heritage in our community. This year's theme celebrates a century of Black life, history, and culture, and we're joined today by City Council President Loretta Scott and Leonard Merritt, members of the Black Heritage Committee. Thanks for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank
you. How long have you been putting these programs on?
The organization started in 2001. That was when we started the celebrations.
And you've been a committee member ever since?
Yes.
Quite a big effort. Do you guys work year-round to organize, plan these events?
Basically, we do. I think we sort of take a break for about a couple of months after the last function that we put on, which is the gala, and we'll take a couple of months off after that to sort of step back, get a different perspective of everything that happened so that we can plan for the next upcoming season, which begins usually around in June.
And now the committee is all volunteers, and is it all city employees?
All volunteer, and I think almost 100% are city employees.
Okay, let's just walk through some of the events. Maybe starting with the Heritage Gospel Concert or Gospel Fridays. That's one of the favorites.
Well, our Gospel Fridays is one of our highlights because it helps to spotlight some of the community participation that we solicit. We go around and we ask different choirs from churches if they would perform. We also go to some of the city school district choirs that they have, especially School of the Arts. They're one of our performers, and they come over and they do this every Friday from 12:30 until 1 p.m. And the event is free. It's open to the public. Anyone is welcome to come in and enjoy the fine music. It is great, let me tell you. So we enjoy that particular event.
And those are at City Hall?
And they're at City Hall every Friday, again, throughout the month of February.
Okay. President Scott, how did you come up with a theme? How did the committee come up with a theme for this year's programming?
Well, this year's theme, 100 Years of Black History, Life and Culture, is that the right order?
Yes.
We tie it with a national group that sets a theme annually, but then we customize it to make our own, too.
Why are these events so important for Rochester? Either one.
Well, Rochester has such a very, very active African American community, and a lot of times the events, the accomplishments, the successes that we have just don't have a venue for all of that to be put forth. And this helps. Now, we understand and we both know that there's a multitude of organizations out there that help to do that in their own way. But we feel as the city, we're at the forefront. We should be at the forefront. We're city government. People look to us for everything. And just to spotlight what African Americans do to bring about their accomplishments and successes, we should have a part in that, and I feel that we're doing that. My reason I want to be on this committee to help out is that I want to ensure that my children, my grandchildren, have a spotlight to say, this African American accomplished something in Rochester, this one did something, and that continues on.
And President Scott, you've been doing this a long time, doing just in the community for a lifetime of service. Why do you continue to do this? Why is it important to you?
There's so much to celebrate. There is so much to highlight and to share. I don't think we share enough about all of the great things that we are and that we do. By laying that kind of foundation and putting in the footwork, it does in fact provide a path for our children to to enjoy pride in who they are and the love of their community. I think if we have a greater focus on that, it helps to direct them along a path that we want to see them go.
And speaking of pathways, I know that the Heritage Gospel Concert is actually a benefit for a scholarship. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, it helps to raise money, and obviously it's not something that we set a goal for as far as a specific amount. We want folks to come there first to enjoy the music, but to also know that by enjoying that music, we are providing a scholarship to someone to continue their secondary education. Obviously, going to college, we want someone to know that we're helping in that success story that they're going to write by going to college. So this will help in that process. It also helps to expose some of the artists that put on the shows so that they can continue to travel around and show others that are nearby in communities as well as other states that Rochester has some talent here.
Now, another one of the community favorites is the storytelling events that happen, and if you haven't been, you might just think someone's reading a book, but really it's so much more than that. Can you tell us how a storytelling event plays out?
That has evolved over the years as well. We've had just people from the community who would read books to children, but we now also have stellar performers, I'll say, who read books, who are noted for their performance of what it is that they're reading. Dr. Anderson, and I'm not sure who the other reader is this year, but it's a mesmerizing activity, it truly is. And you can look at the children who are listening and they're just enraptured by what they're hearing and seeing.
Right, and now the Department of Recreation has also been kind of taking that a step further, and children are also creating a performance, is that correct?
It's the Kings and Queens?
Right.
Kings and Queens?
Yeah. DRISE, which is the Department of Youth and Recreation Services, Commissioner Lopez has helped to extend resources in that area so that the kids that go to the art centers, as they're called now, can enjoy these, be involved in these types of productions. So the Kings and Queens production is where the children, and I shouldn't really call them that, they're actually teenagers, will highlight specific African Americans, Rochesterian African Americans, who have did something of note in this community, and they will play that part, give a little verbiage about who they are and what they did. And if you don't know who's done something in Rochester, you will know after that play.
And you'll remember it because it'll be so well performed.
Oh,
Why
sure.
is it so important to engage the youth in this way, and what do you think what are they getting out of it?
We need to take every opportunity, we need to make every opportunity to engage young people in the development and vibrancy of this community, because it has a reciprocal effect on them. When they are a part of doing good, it helps them to on their journey to becoming the outstanding, productive adults that they want to be. So we take and make every opportunity to engage young people in our activities.
What is some of the feedback that you've received from the community on any of the events?
Well, and I'll take one of our events, which helps to, as Council President Scott just mentioned about the youth, which is our Evening of Art and Jazz, which is specifically geared towards the teenagers or the children, the youth, who will do artistic productions, and which they will be on display at City Hall as well. If you visit during the month of February, you'll see those displays of their art production. So all of that is done, plus the music. You know, a lot of them come there to play the violin, the horns, the trumpets, the trombones. They're excellent. And this is a venue that is very rarely provided to them. And just to have the mayor come out and shake their hand and give them a pat on the back, maybe even mention their name, their families are out there. This just sends waves through the community. Oh, that's my child. Oh, this is so. You should see the look on their faces and their families. This just drives them to say, yes, I'm going to continue that path, and this is what we want to see.
Now, if people aren't familiar with City Hall, where exactly can they come in and see this artwork on display?
We have what's called the Link Gallery, and it's called that because it's a hall that links the old building with the new, and they're just beautiful buildings. 30 Church Street or South Fitzhugh, it's on a corner. Either of those doors will provide an entry, and it's very easy to get to. It's a fairly long corridor that goes in an L, and there's art along both of those walls.
Okay. Now, finally, if we could just talk about the gala. It's an annual favorite.
Well, I'll let the council president talk a little more. She's been to more of them than I have.
That's the party. That is the party of all parties, and it is at a scale that it is what we would call a hot ticket. We have about 400 attendees each year, and that's capacity almost for the venue that we're at, and we've been fairly intentional about our growth.
Okay.
We have outstanding performances, just tremendous food. We typically have a great keynote speaker. We have live jazz that's played during the meal and so forth, and a wonderful opportunity to socialize and engage with others.
Wonderful.
And it also has and we can't forget the reason why we have it. It is to ensure that folks who have done something in this community get recognized. And that is going to be the highlight of the whole gala, is to have those folks come up, the pioneers as we call them.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. We're looking forward to all of the wonderful events that you've been planning. Again, the full calendar of Black Heritage Month events is posted online at cityofrochester.gov/BHM. You can also call 428-9857 for any of the items we talked about today. CityWise will be right back. Hey kids, are you tired of hearing it's none of your business? Well, this time it is your business. The City of Rochester's Biz Kids Camp teaches you how to start a business and make real money doing something you love. Biz Kids is free to Rochester City youth and runs during school break and summer vacation. Win prizes and earn money while learning time management, sales forecasting, marketing, public speaking, and goal-setting skills. Visit cityofrochester.gov/bizkids or call 428-7371. A group of local artists are banding together to inspire African American theatrical groups to support one another and enhance performing arts in our community. The Rochester Bronze Collective is preparing for its inaugural Theater Fest. It'll span 6 days and feature performances for all audiences. And here to tell us all about it is Robert Djed Snead and Curtis Rivers of the Bronze Collective. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
How did the Bronze Collective get started, and what's behind the name? Great name.
Well, we got started about a year and a half ago. We were sitting around after the Sankofa Festival, and we were talking about the different theatrical groups that are in Rochester. And actually, there's about 10 to 12 African American theatrical groups in Rochester, and how they all put on productions, and some of the times we don't even know that they were putting on productions or when they were putting them on. So we decided that we needed to form a group to not only network, but that we could come together and show our wares. So we formed the Bronze Collective, and we've been working on it for that year and a half. And this is the fruits of our work.
Mm-hmm. And Djed, if you could just walk us through what some of the performances look like, and you yourself have wrote one of the plays, is that correct? Okay.
We're going to have performances from Tuesday the 17th through Saturday the 21st. On Tuesday, Jahaka Mindstorm, and we call it Emergent Playwright Evening. It's going to be a stage reading. I forget the name of it.
It's My People Perish.
My People Perish.
Yeah.
On Wednesday night, Rena Golden is doing a piece called Four
Walls, and it's a choral speech piece.
Choreo poem.
Yeah, choreo poem, that's what she calls it, choreo poem. And I guess that's what it is. But she's going to be doing a choreo poem, which includes dance, poetry, and audiovisual.
Mm-hmm.
On Thursday is David Shakes and the North Star Players, Project Baldwin, which it had a run at the Muck, and now it's going to be part of ours because David Shakes is one of our founding members.
Okay.
And that's going to be Thursday night, and he's taking excerpts from James Baldwin's essays and plays and pulling them all together with one of the parts of the Amen Corner and monologues from his writings.
And along with that, he's incorporated gospel music.
Yes.
So there'll be gospel music with it also.
Okay.
And then on Friday night is my piece called The Love That Hate Produced, and it is set in Harlem in 1959. And it's set on a Harlem street corner where a brother who has joined the Nation of Islam meets a friend that he used to run with when he was in the streets. And then on Saturday we have two productions.
Two productions on Saturday.
Kathy McGill is going to be in the evening, Kings and Queens, and
that's Kings and Queens at 7 o'clock.
Right.
And that involves some youth, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then actually at 2 o'clock, we're doing a film salon premiere of a local filmmaker. He's doing three short films.
Okay.
One is called The Session, Running, and the third one.
His name is David Taylor.
David Taylor.
Got it. Okay.
His name is David Taylor.
Now, the theme of the festival, when art is a shield and a weapon, what does that mean?
Well, I should say too that the person who really kind of got us all together is Reuben Tapp. He's a local actor. He moved here from Missouri, didn't he?
From Memphis,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
But he's really the force that said, "Come on, let's do this." And he came up with that slogan, and he did explain it.
Yeah.
And I think it's more like his company is called Nafsky, and Reuben is into using theater not only as a shield but as a weapon to kind of break down some of the negativity as well as some of the things in the community that aren't right. He wants to use theater, and as well as we do, we want to use theater to uplift our community.
And you mentioned that there was an earlier run of the Baldwin program, and what was the reception, the community reception to that?
It was really good. The first two nights was kind of nights for people to come in at a lower price because it was only $5, and he had good houses that night. The next three nights, he had a full house every night.
Okay. Now, all of these performances are happening in the same place. Where will they all take place?
The MUC, the Multi-Use Community Cultural Center, 142 Atlantic Avenue, and curtain time is 7:30 each night, except on Saturday. Again, David Taylor at 2 o'clock and Kathy McGill at 7:30.
Okay. Now, are all of the shows open to all ages, or are they specifically tailored to a certain audience or an age?
Well, actually, when you look at the shows, they are open to kids 13 and older. But basically, most of them are tailored to all ages. But like Saturday night is specifically family night, and it's for young people and their families. Yeah.
Now, Djed, you've done many things in the community across a lot of different mediums of art, poetry. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was when we were in the green room, I was telling Kurt, it's amazing. When I moved over to Rochester in '72, I got immersed in the poetry scene and was doing open mics and things like that. From poetry, I got into storytelling with Dr. Anderson and the Black Storytelling League. And then I was blessed to be one of the founding members of AQUABA, the Heritage Associates, which does historical reenactments. And then from there, and I was sharing with him that all of those things kind of laid the foundation for what we're doing now with playwriting. We jokingly said it's fun putting words in people's mouths.
Yes, it is.
So again, since '72, I've only been out of Rochester for about a 2 or 3 year hiatus when we went down to Texas. But each one of those abilities to be able to develop the poetry, develop the historical reenactments, develop, the storytelling has, I think, gotten me to a point now, as young as I am, to be able to look at the stage and want to use it, like Ruben said, use it to uplift and put ideas in the audience's mind. So, yeah.
And Curtis, you're also the owner of Moonmakers Books, and you mentioned the Sankofa Festival, which is kind of a similar idea. So you've been putting on these festivals for a while now. What made you want to start that?
Well, actually, when I was in college, theater was my major. So, and after I left college, I went to the service. I was in the Air Force, and while in the Air Force, I directed community theater on base, and that's where I wrote my first 3-act play there. And I moved after that. I moved around quite a bit with a local company here, a big local company, and just about in every city I moved to, I had a theater group. So when we moved to Rochester, I had a bunch of people would come in asking about playwriting and how do you write plays and that kind of stuff. So what we did, we started the Sankofa Festival. And actually the Sankofa Festival is a festival where playwrights, new playwrights, can enter a play. We usually pick 3 to 6 plays and produce those plays. And then out of that grew the Playwrights in Residence, which meets once a month, where playwrights can come in and talk about their plays, or if they're stuck, they can come in and we can talk it out and that type of thing. So this is just part of my being, I guess.
Now, what's next for the Bronze Collective? What do you see on the horizon?
I think if we can get this done to the level and quality that we want, if we can duplicate it for a couple of years, we want to attract other production companies, directors, writers to us. We really want to be something that is like a
conduit.
Yes, for writers, for playwrights, for actors, and learning the technical part. Learning that theater is not about all being on stage. It's also about the lighting. It's about the sound. So I think what really is on our horizon is getting together ourselves and being a solid foundation, and then attracting other groups and other technical people as well as actors to come and be with us.
There is such a large variety of talented people in Rochester. And one of the reasons we started the Bronze Collective is because a lot of times they get overlooked. And they don't have a venue to show what they can do. So, with the with MMB Theater One, our motto is bringing life to the stage. So what we would like to do is not only bring life to the stage, but show Rochester the many facets of people and the talent that people have here in Rochester.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with the festival. Sounds wonderful. Again, if you want tickets to the Bronze Collective Theater Fest, you can visit muck.org or purchase tickets in person at Moodmakers Books in the Village Gate. Thanks for joining us on this edition of CityWise. I'm Tiana Stevens, and we'll see you next week.